Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's morning here in America. I'm Jason Sterling. I'm a member of the EA Creator Network. And today we're going to work on, let's make a movie. Let's make a movie. We're going to work on making how I make a video series, like a storyline series, as opposed to a let's play, or as opposed to a live stream where I'm just playing the game or kind of building or something like that. This is more like a like when you're going to make a series. You're going to make a movie using The Sims. Excuse me, I still got to get going here this morning with my voice. It is early here in the United States, but about the only time I have to work on this sort of stuff this time of, during these periods of the year is in the early morning. Before I go to work, I'm also enrolled in school full time. I work full time. I'm at my job about 55 hours a week, sometimes longer. And then I'm enrolled full time at school. And of course, I have a son and stuff like that. It takes up some of my time as well. So about the only time I have to work on this sometimes is in the early mornings. Which is what we're going to do right now. And I'm going to pull up YouTube, make sure that we're rolling correctly. And then we will jump into kind of how I go about this. Like I said, it's my way of doing it. We should be live. It looks like we are live. Let's see here. Okay, everything looks good to go. Let me make sure I've got kind of chat lined up here. Okay, so you want to make a video, right? You want to make a video series. You want to tell a story in The Sims in video form, not a live stream, not a let's play, not something like that. The first thing I usually start with is a script. I do start, well, not usually. It is the first thing I start with, is a script with an idea of what I want to do within this game. So in this case, I'm going to write down like the characters, what they're doing, what the beginning and the end of it is. Then I'll start filling in kind of the dialogue and the respective situations. So I have an idea of where we're going to head. A lot of times too, I'll build something. In this case, I was going to build this build anyway, so I can use an existing build. It's true of the second location for this series as well, which is a nightclub. It's something I was going to build anyway. But a lot of times for a story, I will build throughout that particular series. Growing Together, which I did recently, is a kind of a good example of that. I did a lot of building in that series as I was recording it. Okay, so the next thing I do is I download and use MC Command Center. MC Command Center is going to give you a lot of flexibility and a lot of control over your environment. The first thing, through mailboxes, you can see here MC Cheats. You can change the world time. You can change the weather. You can change, stuff like that. You can change their excuse me. You can change their attitude. You can make them happy. Also using MC Command Center through the person in question, you can literally change their mood, change it to good, sad, stuff like that, whatever you need for that particular scene. Even more importantly, you can add through there's several different ways you can use MC Command Center, either through the mailbox, through the computer, by clicking on the Sims directly. And I think even, can you click on the ground and use it? No. Okay, so those three options: computer, mailbox, sim. They often have different functionalities. Going through the computer, you can set up a situation where you can increase the amount of Sims in a household. Currently, for this household, I have it set at 20 Sims. Excuse me, this is not my morning, right? For doing this, I guess. But you can increase it to 20 sims. That comes in really handy if you're doing a scene with a lot of people in it. It gives you a lot of control over people in the scene. You can increase it even larger. I think at least why do I want to say 100? I don't know. It always takes me a moment to find that particular menu in here. One thing I do use also, though, is adjust the number of sims on the lot. So this is to click which lots are going to be affected by that. Maybe it's under population settings. No. There's so many settings in MC Command Center. It can be really tough for me. Here we go. Maximum sims in the zone. Right now I have it set at 50. The default value from Maxis is 20. So normally there will only be 20 sims allowed in a zone by the game. You can change that with MC Command Center to 50 or more. I think you can go as high as 200 here. Be mindful of your computer's specs because you're going to be not just playing the game, you're going to be running some sort of recording software in the background. And in a case like this, I'm also running a streaming software in the background. All of those different software applications do take resources from your computer, right? So be mindful of that. I'm going to try for 50. If it seems like it's running okay, I might boost it higher. Because we are going to be in a nightclub and we need a lot of sims in the nightclub. So the other thing is the household I was talking about. We can move it from 8, which is the standard. Let me see if it's in here. Maximum household size. I moved it to 20. As you can see, you can do a maximum value of 104. I was thinking it was 100. It's 104, so I put 20. That'll give me 20 sims I have direct control over to control their moods, control where I want them to stand, control what I want them doing while it's running. Then there should be around another 30 sims on the lot at a public lot like this nightclub, doing their own thing, acting independently. So we've got 20 right now. I might change that to 22. I might need to throw in a couple more, but we're going to go with 20. I think that will ultimately be enough. The time when I really need that many is for this particular episode that I'm working on with this live stream. With this episode, it is about this guy down here. Let me get out of these screens. Here we go. Todd. Now, Todd is a lonely young man. He lives here in this retirement center. He was allowed through a special dispensation, right, by the other residents to stay and live here. Normally you have to be, I don't know, let's say 55 plus or 60 plus or whatever retirement communities typically are. And Todd is about like 23, maybe, something along those lines. So he's been allowed to live here and he is looking for his Mrs. Todd. He's looking for his, princess to his prince. And in this episode, he's going to use Cupid's Corner. Now, he's convinced everyone here at this particular retirement community that part of the events they do is like, maybe every month they should have a big disco night, right? Where they go out on the town, they go out to a nightclub together, hang out, have a good time. That's tonight. And he's going to use his time at this club to meet a variety of ladies off of Cupid's Corner and kind of talk to them and try to find, like Mrs. Right? He's gonna look for Mrs. Right. That's why we need so many people, because when we're doing the recording, which will not just be video recording, it'll also be still shots, because I also integrate a lot of still shots in these sort of videos. I want to have control of all those people at once and not have to switch back and forth to different families to record. So essentially, I'm going to move all these different families into this household, all these different ladies. And some of the people I'll use are like, one of the families has 4 members in it who are all women. So that's what I mean by families. And we'll add those before we leave this particular structure. I think that'll work. I think I can take them all with me to another location. I hope so. We're going, if not, I'll just have to take 8 of them to the nightclub and then pull the rest of them there. It's been a long time since I've tried recording a video with this level of people on site. And the last time I did a video like this was also in a nightclub. And it worked pretty well. That was with a different computer, less powerful than this one. And I did get a little bit of lag, a little bit of dropping, a little bit of, kind of, well, lag. That's the only way to put it, right? A little bit of lag in there. Using editing, right? Editing and video kind of cuts and stuff. It came out pretty well. I was able to work around a lot of that lag and jumpiness. It was not ideal. Some of the shots weren't ideally what I wanted, but it worked okay. Now to start here, we're going to do a few establishing shots of the people in this particular, are retired people, right? Just basically talking, and I don't use voice actors, and I'm not much of a voice actor myself. I tried that once and I did not like it at all. I didn't mind doing it, but I just didn't think it sounded right. It didn't come across right. It did not work right. I was not happy with it. So I've never done that since then. Sometimes I will do voiceovers, but I won't do voice actors any longer. And I've never asked people to be voice actors. I really don't want to get into that either, because I don't want to get into relying on, say, 8, 9, 10 different people. I can't afford to pay them, and I don't want to get into relying on those people to get everything in on time, because with my schedule, I do have to be able to manipulate and edit video when I've got the time, when that time's available, and not have to worry about waiting on someone else. So we're going to have these two. We're going to start with them. This is Bambi. Actually, I think I changed her name. Originally, she was called, maybe I did leave it as Barbie. She's called Barbie Knockoff, right? So she's like a Barbie knockoff. I think I need to check the script. I changed her name maybe a little bit. It doesn't matter too much because their last names aren't going to come into play during the script, but their first names will. So I don't know if I changed her name to Bambi or not. I feel like, I don't know. I went back and forth with names for her. She was one of the last people I kind of worked, even though she's listed first on this screen. When I was writing it in script form, she was one of the last people I kind of created. So I was kind of running out of names, didn't know what I wanted to do there. And this is, the other person with her is Ellen. Now she is the first person I created for this particular pack. Now they're friends, they're best friends, they're hanging out here. And we're going to shoot like the first scene here. They're just going to be talking in this scene. It'll be very quick. I mean, the amount of time it takes to see, ask risque question, all these she's very flirty at the moment. We're going to kind of just go with some small talk is what we're going to do between the two of these. Hopefully they'll sit here and not move around. I do have autonomy turned off. That's the other thing you'll want to do. Almost forgot that part. Turn autonomy off for your Sims, or you'll have a nightmare of trying to make them stand still and do what you want them to do. We'll try get to know, and we'll try just complain about the bills. They just got their bills. They were $16,000. We'll do that. And we'll try something nice like, well, I was going to do the compliment appearance, but let's just discuss interests. Now, we're not really going to need that much time here. I mean, literally, this is going to be like a couple of seconds shot. It's an establishing type of shot to show us who the characters are. This is 2 of the 6. I've already got establishing shots filmed for Todd. That's why we're not doing him first. I've already got his kind of out of the way. And I've got establishing shots set for this particular location, for the villages. The sun is still a little bit high in the sky. It's noon here. Normally, I might make it a little bit darker, a little more dusky. And I might here in a minute before we move them all for right now, it's not that important. They're all indoors, and you're not going to see much of the outside anyway. We'll adjust the scene just a little bit here, kind of down a little bit. They are here at Ellen's apartment, her condominium. I do want to have them both kind of in the shot. Like I said, this is an establishing shot. So we want to get a feel for who they are, because their first names will figure into the dialogue that we use for these two. Let's pull in here. That's actually not too bad. We'll go with that shot. I will say, when you're recording, you're going to get less lag and have less trouble if they're just sitting there not moving around, or if they're standing there not moving around. And if you don't move the camera around. So like when I do shots, like say in the nightclub, where I'm moving the camera through a crowd, or I'm moving it from the front door into the nightclub, and you're coming into a big crowd, that's where I have a lot of trouble, because the game itself has trouble keeping up with all of these different aspects that are supposed to be taking place, right? All these different sims. And then on top of that, I'm also taxing the resources of the computer to record a moving scene. So it'll be easier to record this. Now I'm going to go in here real quick. I'm going to turn off face cam. I don't want my face in this particular part of the video. So let's turn off this, disclaimer, and we'll turn off face cam. I can talk during this, while recording this. It won't matter, because I will turn off the sound for this scene. And, everything that I record is usually muted, and I put my own sound on over it. I don't use the in-game sounds. I do record in tab mode, so you don't see the UI, right? You don't see the UI, you just see the scene. And we'll pull this down here, and then basically we'll hit start. And they'll start kind of, doing their deal. We'll have them kind of talk, go through some motions here. Pretty easy setup. Like I said, we really don't need a lot of film here. I do want to do a few seconds of it, a few moments of this particular scene. See, this works. This is something I didn't anticipate her doing, was pulling the phone. That would work really well at this scene. What they're talking about is Barbie there is going to meet someone she's been seeing, and she's nervous about it, and she thinks it's not going well, and she's thinking about not going. She wants to drop out of the night. She's going to stay home. And Ellen, of course, is trying to convince her not to do it. Everything's going to be fine. She's worried about nothing, type of thing. So she could be checking her phone there to see, oh, look, he's texting. I guess you're right. I'll go. Right. Now, that's probably good enough. We're going to pause that. We're going to pause the scene. We'll get out of tab mode. We'll back up here. We're going to go over to this guy here. This is Oren and his wife, Honey. One bad thing about this scene is I've never filled in personal pictures for them with these frames here, which is what I typically would do. We'll just film the scene from a different angle, so I don't have to bother with that. They're in their bedroom at the moment. I think we'll move them here to the living room. This is another really good, just really quick scene, just an establishing shot of who these characters are. So we'll move them into place. Here we go. Oren's in his bathrobe. Again, I think I will probably leave that as that, because the scene doesn't really have much dialogue. This scene does not have much dialogue associated with it, aside from introductions. And so, since he's in his bathrobe, I'll probably just do something like, you need to get ready, right? We're going to be late. You need to get ready. We're all supposed to leave together. That sort of type of idea. We'll use tab mode here to line this up. Let's try to get, there we go. Maybe like that. I'm going to use the line of the TV as kind of the line to make it straight with the world there. I'm gonna come out of tab real quick just so I can start them on a conversation. Let's see here. Let's give them a compliment. Yeah, honey, you look really good. Let's do that. Let's discuss and let's discuss healthy relationships. This is kind of my open couple. They are kind of swingers, right? If you want to use an old term. They have an open relationship, and so that definitely figures into the storyline coming up. That should be enough. That should get them talking. I'm going to pull this back a little bit here to adjust the scene some. We might do it at a bit of an angle, just so the background looks a little more interesting. The way it was set there from the start, it looks very much like a blank wall. It is kind of a blank wall. It's where the TV is. We'll turn it like this so we get a little bit more of a, like I said, an interesting view back behind. Let's maybe straighten that up at the world. Let's bring in the second floor too, just in case. Let's bring them down here. And then we'll start them talking here, kind of get it going. Again, we probably only need, I don't know, 3 or 4 seconds of this. Oh, great. Now, Max has helped us out there by yanking us right out of the moment. No, he doesn't like deep thoughts. He's not that sort of guy. So we'll have to go back in here, make sure that they are set up. Again, that's one of the pitfalls of recording for an actual kind of movie setup. Let's talk about the warm temperature. Let's support his facial hair. Oh, I can't do it. He always rearranges these. Let's ask about his day. That's good enough. We'll go into tab. We'll elevate back up here. And we'll try this again. We'll see here. Now that kind of works again with her on the phone. That's something that can work in real easy with dialogue. So we'll put this going here. I'm gonna to adjust this real quick since we've kind of got him at a great kind of. We're going to kind of come in here and let's maybe get her from kind of the same angle. So we get a look at her face a little bit there. Try to get this right exactly where I want it. We'll start this. Have them talk for a little bit. I would like to see her talking. There we go. Yeah, I want to get a little bit of her talking, a little bit of her movement, because I'll go through and cut this up and edit it in post-production, right, as they say. Now, if you're curious, I actually use XSplit Broadcaster to record with and stream with. So a pretty simple program. It's not too expensive. I'm currently using, I don't even know what version. Every so often I do pay to upgrade it. But it's a pretty good all-purpose sort of software. I don't remember how much it costs, but it's a good all-purpose software. We're going to have Captain here, Captain Jack. He is going to psych himself up because that's what he is supposed to be doing in this scene. He is psyching himself up. He's a little nervous. His story is that he is going on a blind date. He's been set up on a blind date by the owner of this nightclub, which is a friend of his, with someone that the owner knows that he thinks will be just perfect for Captain Jack here. And so we're going to come at that. That's kind of there'll be a little bit of conflict there and a little bit of drama and a little bit of questioning. So Jack's also thinking about dropping out. Like maybe he won't go. This is a blind date. Blind dates are for fools, right? They're for the foolhardy. But we're going to have him psych himself up. Again, this should be a pretty easy scene to shoot here. We just need Oh, we just need a few seconds here of time. Come in here. Now we're going to come in this direction also and shoot it from behind, looking into the mirror. I like to get, several different shots here. One thing I'm going to do here too is I'm going to pause it and I'm going to hit photograph. I'm going to take a photograph of that exact scene. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll do video, and then if I'm going to have a lot of dialogue or something like that, I'll take a screenshot, and then the screenshot I can place right at the end of where the video portion of it, the movement portion of it stops, and just put dialogue over it, and I can make that picture as long as I need it to be. So we'll do that, and then maybe we'll kind of finish off with a little bit of kind of stuff there. Because he is going to have some psyching up to kind of do. And, thinking of that, I think I'll go ahead and do that with the other characters so far. We'll go back and we'll grab, I won't be able to do it exactly the same as I did here, which is that kind of seamless transition where the scene just seems to stop. In the case of these people, I'll just take some shots, some up close shots, and we'll transition in during editing to just a shot of their face, kind of like this. Now, mind you, all of this that I'm doing here, you're talking about, again, maybe 20 seconds is what it'll translate into in video time. And it takes a lot of setup and a lot of kind of working around. So let's see here. That's why I don't do these sort of videos very often, is because it does take so much time to do it. It takes time to write it. It takes time to film it. It takes time to edit it. Live streaming is so much easier. To live stream Let's Plays or live stream building, something like that is super easy. I mean, you just get on and basically play the game. Let's go through here. But I do like doing this. This is kind of, hobby for me. Let's get a little bit closer so it doesn't look like we're looking up her dress. Go that way. And we'll do, again, a little bit of, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit there. Take a picture for a still shot. I'm going to let her open her eyes up a little bit there. Drop it down just a bit. Come at a slightly different angle. That's not too bad. I think we can go with that. We'll do a different one just in case I change my mind later. Won't have to come back and refilm it. Yeah, we'll go with that one as well. Now, we also have this couple. Ron here and his wife. Now, Ron is a sleepy person. He's going to sleep through most of the episode, actually. Most of the series. It's going to be kind of the running joke. He's everywhere you go, he's just asleep, right? Here, the nightclub, wherever. So she's kind of on his ass because she wants him to get up. She wants him to wake up. We'll have her go here. I wish there was an option to have her talk to herself, because what I need her to do is have the appearance of, yelling at him to get up, but he just sleeps right through it. Let's see here. Now, I'm going to take an establishing still shot, which is a single shot here. And we're going to record this little bit of him sleeping, her looking at him sleeping. And then we'll pause it here. Because her mouth is open, it does look like she's starting to talk. So we'll grab a shot of that and I can put in the whole wake up sort of stuff there. We're going to swing the scene around and we're going to have her actually wake him up. Let's go out of tab mode. Ooh, whoops. And we're going to have her wake him up. And this ought to be a good enough view here. Again, we've got some interest in the background. It doesn't look blank. It doesn't look too plain. And I think also part of these establishing shots, it shows you who they are as a person. This shot is supposed to look a little bit like the 1980s, okay? Because that was maybe the last time she had. You can see where you can see she. Oh shoot! Darn it! Bad thing about tab mode. I've got to remember to get my cursor back. You can see where she's got kind of a lot of gaudy jewelry on, and she puts on a little bit of airs of having a little bit more money and position than maybe she actually has. And so back in the 80s, she bought a bunch of expensive furniture at some point when maybe she did have some money. And that's what she still has, is what she's still kind of milking is what's left over from that era. So we're going to kind of help establish who she is that way too. And all the other characters are the same way. Ellen's apartment, Ellen's very boho, right? She's very kind of earth mother, right? She's very kind of like an old hippie, right? These are kind of baby boomer age sort of people. It's kind of like an old hippie. So she's got that sort of apartment. Todd lives in the tower apartment, which I don't know. No old person could actually live there because there's no stairs. You just use a ladder to get up and down. Maybe that's part of why they said he could stay, right? Because he's going to take the apartment, the condo no one wants anyway. So, but Todd lives someplace where you might expect a young person to live, right? Because it's very non-traditional and it's very kind of new and modern. It's something different. These people, though, this is their setup here. So we're going to move the cursor out of the way. Something I always have to remember, there's been a lot of video I've done where the cursor is in the way. And by the time I caught it, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going back to refilm that. It's just going to have to stay that way. But I do try to remember. So we'll move the cursor out of the way and we'll turn this on and have them it'd be nice if she could be angry, like, get the hell up. Because I think she's too nice when she's doing it. But he is going to wake up there and we're going to pause it here, grab another screenshot so that we can throw in some dialogue if we need to. This might be the only part where he actually speaks. In fact, he's like, what do you want? Because he's taking a nap. So we're going to maybe grab a shot of him there like so. Now, does that leave anybody else? I think we've gotten everybody for kind of our establishing shots here. One thing I want to do is have a shot of them maybe trying to come together in the middle of this sort of condominium complex here and then leaving. Now, to do that, I've got to change the time. Right now, it's 1 o'clock in their world. I need it to be more like, I don't know. When's it going to get dark? Probably it's summertime. Let's say 8:30. So we're going to look here. We're going to change the world time. It's 1 o'clock. We want it to be about 8:30. So we're just going to go ahead and offset it by 8 hours. That'll be about 9 o'clock when we get done. But let's do that. I think it'll be closer. So we'll do 8 hours. Now, one thing that happens when you do advanced time like that is a lot of your Sims motives and stuff will still decay. One thing I want to say too is I have reset MC Command Center in this case to, what is that, I wonder? I've reset MC Command Center to slow down time in the Sims world. So I'm gonna turn all this stuff off too. You can see all the things that would happen during that period are popping up there, right? So I set MC Command Center to slow down time in the Sims world so that our time won't go so fast. That way I'll have a longer amount of time to actually record at night at the nightclub without having to go through this process all over again and advance time all over again into the night. So normally time in The Sims is set at like 25 as a default. I have it set for 100 in MC Command Center. The higher you set it, the slower time will move. Now, Sims will move and do their activities at the same rate, but the clock moves slower and like the sun moves slower. That's just some background there. Now, in this particular case, during this time, their motives might have gone down. It does not look like they have, though. A lot of times when you reset time, the motives would go down. You can see all their interactions here. It's prank day. We're going to turn prank day off. Yes. And we're going to fix that here in a minute. But you can see, yes, they have a lot of interactions lined up because they were interacting when I reset the time. So everything they would have done is lined up there. We're going to fix that. We don't need to fix their motives. It looks like it is fine. I don't know. Let's try this real quick. We're going to start time for just a second. Time has advanced to 9 p.m. Motives are the same. So I'm going to say that we're good there. We're going to go to just her first. Let's go here. And we are going to reset the object. That will erase all of those interactions. We'll reset her. Now let's go over here to Oren. Let's reset him. There. And you can see when I reset him, it took everything off, right? We're going to reset her as well, just in case. So we'll reset her. We'll go here to Ron. Reset him. Reset her. Ellen I already did her. Let's reset Captain Jack there, who has been revving himself up in the mirror for the last 7 hours, 8 hours. Reset the object. We'll go over here to Todd. Reset that object. Now, they all should be prepared to do what I tell them to do. Because that's the thing. If you don't reset the object after advancing time with NC Command Center, and then you line up those interactions are lost behind all those other interactions that just disappeared with, Honey here. All those interactions that were lined up between her and her husband, the new interaction you gave her is lost behind those, and usually they're just locked up. They're locked up behind all those interactions. They're not going to move. They're not going to do nothing. They're just going to stand there with a kind of awkward, the awkward thing where they don't speak. They just kind of shift a little bit. That's where they're going to be stuck. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift up our buildings here, and we're going to try to bring them all out here together. One thing I should probably do, though, before we do that, and I really wish I didn't have to because I want to. How am I going to record this? Let me think for a minute. I got to change Captain Jackson and a few other people's clothing. Should have done that before I advanced time, but it's okay. We'll do it now. Normally it doesn't matter, except I love where Todd is here. His door's open. He's on those steps, and that's a kind of a perfect setup to start a scene with. He's coming out the door. The door's going to close. He's going to walk down the steps. He's going to come towards the center of this particular condominium complex. So I don't want to lose that scene since it's already set up. So what we're going to do is we are going to have Todd just walk here as kind of a start because we don't need but a couple of seconds of that. So let's have Todd walk there. Let's put it in a tab mode. Let me get my cursor back. Let's line up our buildings. Kind of like this. One thing I would love to do is kind of follow him out of the building. There we go. So, and by that I mean pull the camera back, like I'm walking with the camera backwards as he's walking towards the camera, so that we have a kind of sense of motion with the scene with that. We're going to try that. I'm going to hope that that works out pretty well here. I think it will. Like I said, we only need a few seconds of time here. If he's walking too fast and he walks past the camera, I think we'll still get enough time that it'll be okay. And I'm going to start the camera walking back before I activate the sim, before I set the sim in motion. So we'll start walking back, and then we'll start the sim here. We see the door close. He starts walking forward. Yeah, he's going to be walking slow enough that it should be just fine. And we're going to get that sort of establishing shot of everybody coming out together. So we'll jump out of tab mode here. One of our friends is leaving. I didn't know there was somebody here. Oh, well, yeah, he's been here a long time with that time jump. We're going to change Captain Jack's clothing here to something more suited to go out in. Let's go over here to Captain Jack. Let's change his outfit before he walks outside. He could go to the disco dressed like that. It is kind of a disco look, right? I don't know what I want to have him wear. Now, we've got this, which I like, and we've got this, which is really casual. He is going on a blind date. So this seems like, I mean, this might be something you would wear to a nightclub, but I don't know about a blind date. And then this might be a little bit too dressy, right? Does it seem a little too dressy? It seems a little too dressy to me. So I'm at a little bit of a loss, except I think I am going to go with this. I don't know. He's in shorts, though, too. It is summertime. And then we have this, which seems way too dressy. I don't know. Okay, but I've got to choose something. So let's go with, I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with this. A little bit dressed up, but he's in shorts. And so we'll go with that. Let's have him change clothes. I'm not going to agonize over it. If I change my mind, I can always go back and change his outfit later. And then when we have his episode at this sort of nightclub, this sort of discotheque, he is not wanting to do what I just told him to do. Now, I did reset his character, I thought. Let's try this again. Let's reset him. Let's have him change clothes. There we go. Now, it worked that time, so that worked at least. It's, it's tricky. It is trying to get these people to do what they're both in what I want them to wear. This guy probably ought to change out of his pajamas, and I think I'm going to change her too. Although, again, you could wear that to a nightclub. The outfit's a little old for her. I do think the outfit's a little old for her, but she's that kind of sim, right? This guy does not have. He's kind of slovenly, so maybe we could go with this. He's going out, right? I don't have a lot of looks for him. I really don't have a lot of looks for him. We're going to go with this. We're going to have him change that. There we go. He's ready to go. Oh, great. That's nice. Thank you. Yes, thank you. That's great. We'll go ahead and change him into that. I'm going to take a look here at some of her outfits before we move on. Let's see what the outfit looks like that we've got for her. We could do this or maybe this. This isn't too bad for maybe going out at night. Yeah, I think I'll change her to this. It's still a little loud and a little showy and maybe a little bit youngish for her. And I don't know really. Oh, see, she's not resetting yet either. Let's go ahead and reset her. And let's go ahead. I think you can wear really young clothes as an older person, but for some reason with her, I guess because of how I think of her and how I've kind of written her character, to me, it feels like it looks a little off, right? But then it's supposed to. That's part of her character. Okay, so they're lined up. They're ready to go. I'm going to test these two real quick and make sure they don't need to be reset. So I'm going to have Ellen here just walk over here. And I'm going to have to make sure later here in a second when I have them walk outside that they will in fact go outside. Our time is advancing really fast. I need to check MC Command Center and make sure I have slowed it down. We're going to need to check that in a second too, because I don't want the time to go too quickly. Now let's go check out Oren. Oren needs another outfit. He also is still kind of in his pajamas. I think I'm going to leave her in this outfit. I think that looks really good on her. And I think, again, she's a little bit older, but in this case, I think even though this is kind of a young outfit, it does suit her quite well. So we'll change his outfit to this. I'm going to change him to this. This is kind of a good nightclub look. Oren here, kind of an attractive man, attractive older guy. Go over here. We're going to have her go here. As is she. She's pretty attractive too. Now, they're both, actors. They're actors. They're not superstars, but they're actors. They had an okay career in Del Sol. So, maybe they've had a little bit of work, right? So we're going to pull back here. We've got them in place. Now, I'm going to go to MC Command Center because time is going way too fast. It's already 9:25. So let's make sure we've got our time adjusted here. Settings, gameplay. I think it's under gameplay. Game time speed. So again, now this says the default is 25, and less than that makes days go faster. And greater than 25 makes days go slower. So I'm going to slow this way down. Let's just slow it down to like 500. I really need a lot of time there. You know what? Let's just do 1,000. Let's do it. Let's slow it down to 1,000. I need this entire series takes place at night at this particular nightclub. So let's slow it way down. Let's move it to 1,000. We're gonna have to restart the game for that to take effect. Now that's fine, because we're going to just do a quick establishing shot here of them all walking together to the middle of the complex and then walking towards the street. After that, I'm going to add the extra members of the household in, which will not affect game time. Then I'm going to save it, exit out, and restart. So we're going to burn a little bit of time, but moving at a pace of, that slow, 1,000 instead of 25, it should still give us plenty of time. Okay, so we want everybody to start walking here to this point. And we're going to bring them all out here. Captain Jack. He's my favorite. I love Captain Jack. Let's put him here. Set her there. And Todd's already set up. So let's see how this plays out for us. Now, we're going to have to, again, kind of set the scene here. Let me turn my cursor on. Let's elevate here a little bit. We'll pull back a little bit. I want to try to make sure we get everybody coming out of the doors, well, as much as possible. And action. We'll see. We'll see how this plays out. We'll turn on. There goes Todd running down there. Here comes the other people. Yeah, they're all coming out. I wish old people wouldn't walk all stooped over like that. I know a lot of people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, they actually walk fully upright. Now you have no problem walking fully upright. They don't throw their hips out every other moment. Let's see here. Hello, Mans. How are you? I hope you're having a good morning. Oh, it's morning here in the United States. It might not be morning where you are, of course, but I hope that you're having a good time of it, because it might not even be daytime where you are. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, shoot. Let's do a sort of shot here. Pull forward, elevate a bit. Again, we need something of an establishing shot, just another shot of who these people are, where they're going, what's going on. We'll go up. Hopefully I've got them pretty much positioned in a way that we're going to have most of them in a still shot coming here in a second. Hope they're staggered enough here. We're gonna turn our video back on here. Have them kind of finish coming out. And then we'll pause this and we'll grab a shot of it. Oren is a little bit off in this shot. I'm going to still grab a shot right here. Thank you, Mans. I hope it works out well. I've done a lot of videos like this before where I'm kind of storytelling with a script, right? Not a let's play or just following my Sims through the game, but an actual script. So, you know, it's really tough making a movie with the Sims. It takes a long time, but we are definitely going to give it a shot here. Again, I've done it, like I said, a couple of times, so it should be okay. We're going to try to move Oren over here a little bit. Let's move him back here first. And then we're going to move him here. No, come on, Oren. There you go. And then hopefully if we go down like this. Oh, look, there's a smiley face in the background. That's awesome. Okay. I didn't plan that. You can't plan that in the game. But let's see if we can get it in the shot here because it is kind of, you know, they're heading out on the town. Let's have a big smiley face there in the background. We'll pull back here. I'm going to do like that. And then let's see if I can go down a little bit and lift up. And then we'll pull in a little bit more here. Do. I hate the way it blurs out buildings, you know, when you turn it at certain angles, but it'll be okay. We'll manage. Let's let them reset just a little bit there. Oh, shoot. Oh, no, I forgot. Oh, no, I lost it. So I just lost the smiley face in the background. Will I get another one? Probably not. I mean, I got the firework there. Oh, man. I wasn't thinking. And I turned it back on so they wouldn't be quite. I wanted Ellen there in the front to actually put her arms down, right? Oh, boy. Okay, well, that's okay. There'll be other times. There'll be other days. Let's grab a shot of them right here. This is good enough. We'll see. Maybe another firework will go off that'll be better. What's that one? A plumb bob. Maybe I'll get smiley face again. Maybe I'll get lucky and they'll go off twice. I doubt it, but maybe. We're going to play through here and see what they look like. We got the plumb bob twice. No, I think this is the finale coming up. Okay, so let's see. Oh, there we go. Now, let's move in like this. Maybe go up a little bit. Like that. Okay, I think that's going to be a pretty good shot. We can use that also for, you know, thumbnails for YouTube or a banner or something for this particular series. It's a good shot of them. You know, we've got a smiley face in the background. We've got fireworks in the background. We'll see if we get another smiley face that maybe looks different, but I doubt it. I think that was the finale. Yeah, that's a finale. But hey, you know, I think that's pretty good. We got that set. Now, what we're going to do here is we are going to go out of tab and we're going to add all the other people to this household that I need for this particular episode. To do that, we're going to, I think, as I recall, it's been a long time since I've added more than 8 people to a household to do a video. Like I said, you got to be really careful of your of your computer specs, you know, what it can handle and what it can't handle. Thank you, Mans. I hope you have a great day as well. I'm actually almost done with this stream. It's been about an hour. I got to add some people into this household before we move them where they're headed. Using MC Command Center, we're going to add 12 people to this household to make 20. And I think we can go this route, transfer sims between households. So let's see here. Now, where did I put all of those sims? Let's see. I think they're under other households. When I actually set these up, it was through another. Let me try this other screen roll here. Manage households. Let's try this screen. Yeah, this is where I set it up because these are the people we need to add in. We need to add in this person and these two and these. That's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Is there another one here? Yes, and her. She also needs to be added in. So I'm going to click on her here and see if I can move her. I think I can this way. Yeah, I can transfer to the household here in Del Sol Valley that we're using right here. Hopefully this will work. We're going to try moving her over. Let's transfer all of her money to... Oh, whoops. Can I transfer that much? I don't think it'll work. I'm going to try it. Let's see if I can transfer 200,000. Oh, no, I can't. Okay. So we're going to transfer her money over, and then we're going to transfer her over. There we go. So it did work, I think, right? No, it won't let me do it. Okay, so... Okay, so how did I do this before? I know with MC Command Center, I can have 20 people in the household. But I can't go through this screen. So where is she? Let's find out where she is here. She's not in the world. So, okay. Let's try this. Let's try placing her to this lot. Okay, so that won't work either. So, okay. I'm going to set them up on a blank lot here in Oasis. No, there are no blank lots in Oasis. Let's see. Where will I have a blank lot? I don't know. Here, maybe? Nope. I need somebody to say she can afford for 20,000. She can afford that. So let's move her in there. We'll evict the current family. And then I'm going to move up to 8 other people there. And then I can have my group of Sims visit this house. And I think add them in that way. Go to each person and click add to household. Maybe that's what I did before. We'll go with that. And then we'll go back up here to this. We'll move this person in there. And then we've got both of them in there, and then we'll move 6 more people in here. I guess we'll do this group here. It says the household is, oh, because they've got all those cats. Oh, for goodness sakes. And a baby? Where did they get all the cats and a baby? Okay, what am I going to do with these people? Okay, this is getting complicated. Let's see here. It's been a long time since I've combined big households like this, but there is a way around it. We're going to go ahead. How many people live here? 1. Michael there is about to get a baby. Let's shift everything around. Here we go. Where is Willow Creek here? Oh, she'll work too. Let's just take the first one. We're going to move all of these cats and the baby over there. Okay, now we can put the single ladies I need into this particular household. Now let's see. Where is this group here? Can go next. Let's move them in to here. Move in. Like so. And that's 4 people. And then we'll take this group, the Charm family, which I changed him into a girl to make it easy on myself, right? I don't remember his name. These are all NPC, characters. We'll move them in. They're too okay. Someone else came with a cat. How did I miss that? Let's go ahead and move that cat out too. Let's see here. And it doesn't matter. Let's just move the cat over here. He's got a cat. Right. Now he's got 2 cats. So let's try this again. Let's grab this family from Glimmerbrook. Move them into this slot. Here we go. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll go back to our initial family here. There is also a way you can do this not using an MC Command Center. You can use a mod from Twisted Mexi called Full House. And right now, I probably should have used that mod, is what I'm thinking. With Twisted Mexi, you can just put in the Sim's name, and it will bring them into the household. That is shaping up to be quite a little bit easier than this. One bad thing about that is this particular save I use for builds and for testing and for things like this, for recording. So there's a ton of Sims sometimes that have the same name. Because I will just download the same sim over and over and over into a build to fill the build out. Now we're going to go visit these people over in Willow Creek, and we're going to try to do it this way. If this doesn't work, all I really need is to send her by herself. If this doesn't work, then I will download Twisted Mexi's mod, and I'll just do it that way. So let's go over here. And we're going to try clicking on each of these people and adding them to the household. And really, I just realized I don't have my face cam on any longer. I could have it on. Let's see here. Because we are not actively recording anything that I need to use at the moment. There we go. Okay, so here we are on the lot. We're going to go ahead and click on each of these people. I'm going to try, can I do it this way? Add to family. Will that work? It did. Okay, so we're going to go through and just click add to family for all of these people. Like I said, I think using the Twisted Mexi's mod might be a little bit easier than going through the Full House mod than going through MC Command Center. But this wasn't that hard. It just took me a moment to kind of figure out what I needed to do with it. We'll go through here. And we will. Oh no, she is part of the family. Did I get everybody already? How many have I got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Do I have 8? 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I have 7. No, is that the 8th one there? Yeah. Okay. So I do have all 8 of them. So that's done. We've added them to our household. Now we still need to add 4 more. I think is missing 4 more. As we're going to add 12. That'll wait. I'll do that off stream because as of right now, I got to get ready and go to work. I got to finish up the day and get ready and go to work. So please hit like, subscribe, and notify if you're watching now or if you're watching later on archive. We're going to continue just filming out this particular episode of this series I'm doing as a live stream. So again, please hit like, subscribe, and notify. Maybe pick up some tips and hints. If you want to make your own videos, maybe not. We'll see. But hopefully I will see you next time. And until then, thanks for watching.